Welcome to Kandidly Keoshia, where positivity meets real talk. I'm your host, Keoshia, here to share my unfiltered stories, life lessons, and a whole lot of laughs. Get ready for straight talk, real laughs, and no filters. It's like chatting with your best friend who knows just how to lift your spirits. So tune in now and let's keep it real together. Hey you guys, welcome to Kandidly Keoshia. I'm your host, Keoshia Kennard, and I am so excited to have you guys here on the first episode of my podcast. Yes, I have been waiting so long to start this podcast, but let's just get into the introduction. So if you're looking for straight talk, real laughs with absolutely no filters, you guys are in the right place. We're going to dig deep into life, growth, and everything in between. So if that sounds like something you guys want to listen to, then keep on listening. All right, you guys. So before we dive deep into the podcast, let's go ahead and break down the podcast. You know, what it's all about. So the first thing you heard is my tagline, which is straight talk, real laughs with no filters. So basically what that means is that life is messy, y'all. And I know my life has been messy at times and absolutely crazy. It's full of ups and downs. And sometimes, you know, we just need to laugh through the pain. But more than that, we need to keep it real. No sugarcoating and no BS. That's what this podcast is all about. Being real, laughing on the crazy stuff and growing through it all. And that's just the way I like to live through life. I definitely love to hit things head on, but I also love to laugh and, you know, make fun of or poke fun of that things that go through on in my life. And you guys will figure that out as we go through the podcast. And of course, I grow through all of these lessons that I've learned in life. And so I just want to be able to share some of that with you guys. So why did I start this podcast? Because like I said, life is hard, y'all. And I've been through so much stuff, and I know you have too. And we all need a space where we can vent, get real, laugh, cry. Now, I don't do a lot of crying. You know, I'm a thug. I don't do thug tears. But, you know, we cry a little bit, a little tear might be shedded or whatever we need, you know, at the time. And most importantly, to grow. Growth isn't easy, but it's necessary. And sometimes we need somebody to share along and go along with that journey with us, or hear other people's journey when it comes to those hard times in life. And so I wanted to be that person that you could. So in this podcast, we're going to be sharing my personal stories, maybe some of my friends' stories, maybe my family stories, maybe some of even you viewers or listeners' stories, because we are on YouTube as well as Spotify and Apple. Just to put a little shameless plug in there. And so if you're listening or watching, you know, you can always comment using the hashtag KANDIDLYKEOSHIA, and you know, we can share on the channel, on the podcast, you know, your stories and my thoughts on it. But mostly I'll be sharing my personal stories and how I grew through, you know, the tough times in life. So like I say, here on Kandidly Keoshia, we're going to talk about the ups and downs, the setbacks, the bumpy times, the wins, the losses, all of those things, because we all know that life isn't always a smooth ride. There's always bumps in the roads, curves, you know, speed bumps, ditches, the hills, mountains, all those things. But it's the bumps and the detours where we really grow, and it's how we learn lessons in life, how we learn what we don't like, what we don't want, what we won't accept, what we won't tolerate, what we will accept, who is here for us and who is not here for us. So if you're ready to get in the real and, you know, laugh and cry and maybe curse a little bit, then you're in the right place. And I hope you are ready to get this journey started with me. So I am going to share on this podcast, like I already said, my personal stories, the good, the bad, and the messy, and the ugly, and the horrible, and the horrific. But I also have good times and wins and, you know, moments of true joy and pride and honor and all of those things. So I know that life is a crazy journey, and I know mine has been crazy. And so I love to share my stories with you guys and kind of give you an insight that you're not alone, that you're not the only one who's going through certain things. And I like to motivate and inspire and educate others using my personal stories that sometimes are not always triumphant, not always wins. I've had some very bumpy roads in my life, and my life hasn't gone as smooth as I hoped it would. But you know, I wouldn't change that for nothing, because I wouldn't have learned the life lessons that I've learned. I wouldn't have grown as much as I needed to. And so, we're just going to cover everything from overcoming challenges to embracing who you are and building the life you want. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and dive in. All right, you guys. So I want to go ahead and say that every month we're going to have a theme for the podcast. So the theme for October is growth. And the reason why I picked growth is because this is my birthday month. Your girl is a Scorpio. I was born October 31st. And one thing I like to do every year, in the month of my birth or near my birthday or sometime within that month, I like to reflect on my life and see how far I come, see how far I've grown. And that's basically something that a lot of people do. A lot of people use their birthday month and that time to reflect on all the good things in their life, all the bad things in their life, but they also like to celebrate how far they've come. Now, this could be over the course of your life. This could be over the course of the last few months. It could be over the course of a year from one birthday to another. It's whatever you decide. And so I like to reflect on my life because my life didn't go the way I wanted to, yo guys. My life did not. Okay, did not, I repeat, did not go the way I wanted it to. And so I like to reflect. And so that's how I want to start this podcast off. I want my first month of this podcast to discuss growth and how everybody needs it in his life. And it's just something that is a part of life that everybody has to go through. And we all know about growing pains. We've all heard it before. Life is a growing pain, and you're going to learn lessons, and they're going to be hard lessons, good lessons, great lessons. And, you got to grow through everything that you experience. So that's why I wanted to choose growth for this theme of the month. But before we dive into the nitty gritty of the podcast, I like to do a little icebreaker, get to know each other, let y'all get to know me. So today we're going to talk about my favorite wine. So I love wine, you guys. I have not been a big wine connoisseur, but I have slowly gotten into wine over the last 3 to 4 years because I am in a book club called Once Upon a Wine. So we read books and we drink wine. It's great, you guys. I will link it down below so you guys can check it out. It is a local book club, so you have to live in Alabama in the Birmingham area in order to join the book club. But just in case you want to follow along, or whatever, you can. And so my wine that I have today is my Adesso wine. I am a video podcast, so in case you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcast, this is also a video podcast on YouTube, so you can kind of see my setup. So if you want to follow me and look at the video version, you can come over to Kandidly Keoshia on YouTube. Shameless plug. I'm not shamed. But with that being said, Adesso is my favorite sweet red wine. I am a sweet red wine girl. That's one of my favorite wines to have. Let me know below, what is your favorite wine? Do you like your wine sweet or do you like it dry? My bestie loves some dry wine. Man, she has tricked me so many times talking about, oh, Keoshia, this wine is so good. It's so sweet. And then I taste it be just dry as all outdoors. So her sweet tooth is very much different than mine. Something that she swears is super sweet to me is super bitter. It don't have a lick of sweet in it. So when I say something sweet, it's sweet. You can trust me on it. So I love a good sweet red. And this one is by Adesso. I also link it below or in the show notes so you guys can check it out if you want to. I pick it up my local Piggly Wiggly. I do live in Alabama. Yes, we do have a Piggly Wiggly. And yes, that's the name of the store. In case you're listening somewhere where you ain't never heard of a Piggly Wiggly, it's a grocery store. And yes, it's called Piggly Wiggly. And they got some good wines. And so I did pick it up there. It's under $20 and it's really, really good. So I love me a sweet red. So go ahead and use the hashtag KANDIDLYKEOSHIA on social media or wherever so I can figure out what kind of wine you guys like as well. And we can get started a conversation. That's good. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the topic of the day, or the story of the day, or the lesson of the day, whatever you prefer to call it. So let's go back, y'all. Let's go back to 1998. Hey, I was 19 years old. Was I 19 years old? No, I was 18, but it starts in 1998. So it starts when I'm 18 and go into my 19th year. So y'all, it was 1998 and I was about to start my second semester of college. And I had my whole life a plan for me, you guys. Ever since I started high school, I took an accounting class and I loved it. And I knew just when I went to college, my major was going to be in accounting and I was going to be an accountant, right? That's what I was going to do. I had a plan. And, I knew what I was going to do, and I was ready to go, and I filled out my college application. I got admitted to Troy State University, and I moved into Troy State in 1997 at 17 years old. I didn't turn 18 until October, so I was 17 when I started college, but soon turned 18. And I was just ready to go. So my first year went great. I made good grades. I made good friends. I had a pretty okay roommate. She turned out to be trash later on, but she was okay for that first year. But she turned out to be real horrible the next year. So I was all set. I was taking my classes and all that kind of stuff. And then, I went through a whole full year, and I came home for the summer, and then we started our second year of college in 1998. And, I was ready to go, and I just knew I was going to be an accountant. I was going to have a bright future, and my plan was, I could see it clear as day, like from here to over there. I just knew I was going in a straight shot to being an accountant, and then my life would just take off from there, and I'll be able to do all the things I ever wanted to do. But life had other plans, because your girl was irresponsible. Can I tell you, your girl was irresponsible, y'all. I was so irresponsible, and I ended up getting pregnant, and everything changed overnight. When I found out I was pregnant, I knew that was the end of college life for me. That was the end of my dream. And I wasn't going to be an accountant, and I wasn't going to graduate from college. I had to leave college, and I had to move back home. And suddenly, I was shoved back into a space that I was trying to get away from. I was trying to get away from home and, under my mom's thumb. Like, we grew up and we were my mom was a church lady, and not to say there was anything wrong with it. In hindsight, you appreciate what your parents do when you get older, but when you're young, you don't care nothing about that. You be like, I want to have fun and do what I want to do, and my mom wouldn't let me, okay? And obviously, this is why. So, I wanted to have fun and do all the things, but she was a church goer. We had church every Sunday. We weren't allowed to hang out. We weren't allowed to go out. There was not a lot that we were allowed to do, and we mostly hung around family, and I had a couple of friends, but there just wasn't a lot that I was able to do that other young people were able to do, and no shade to my mama, but that's just how she wanted to live her life. So that's what we did. And so I had to leave college, and I had to move back home. And that was really devastating, because I was free. I was free as a bird to do what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it, and have all the freedom in the world. And unfortunately, I was irresponsible with that freedom. Okay. I was irresponsible doing things I ain't supposed to do. And now your girl pregnant, has to come home. And the hardest thing about coming home is facing people who wanted you to become this person that you said you were going to become. If in every family, and sometimes it's on purpose, and sometimes it's not on purpose, and sometimes it's just the way it is. They put certain family members on a pedestal. They put them on a pedestal, and they put them here, and other family members are here, and it's a lot of competition sometimes in family about who's going to be this and who's going to be that, and who's going to make it and who's not going to make it. And like my family and every other family, that was the case. That was the case of I was on a pedestal. Now, I don't know how high my pedestal was, but it was high. And so when I came tumbling down off that pedestal, everybody was devastated. Everybody was devastated. And I remember the most devastated person was my uncle. My uncle, who's passed away, God rest his soul, he was devastated. He cried. He cried and cried and cried. And I cried and cried too, because I felt so bad. I felt so bad disappointing him. He was my favorite uncle. I loved him to death, and his opinion meant everything to me. And in that moment, I was devastated. I was devastated that he was upset and I was upset, and the dream that we both talked about and planned out and all the things wasn't going to go the way that we thought it would go. And so it was very disappointing for him, and it hurt his heart and his feelings, and him being hurt and seeing the disappointment in his eyes also caused me to feel that way as well. And so I went through a stage of depression, y'all. It cut me deep for a while. And, I started to believe all the negative talk and all the, comments and slide this and slide that and all the things. And so it's very hard, having your mistake shown, or your mistake or your mishap or your determine, whatever you want to call it, because at the end of the day, was it really a mistake? Probably not. No, it wasn't. It wasn't my plan, no, but it wasn't a mistake because I knew what I was doing. You know, you knew what you was doing, girl, so it wasn't really no mistake, okay? That part. But it wasn't planned. And having to showcase that after you tell everybody who you're going to be and what you're going to do with your life and how you're going to excel, it's really hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's a hard thing to face. And it's even harder when you have this negativity put on you. And for me, it was really hard because, like I said, my mom was a churchgoer. So I had left church and went to college, and everybody was like, congratulations, you're going to make some of yourself. And here I am coming back to church pregnant. And of course, everybody's going to find out because I was only 115 pounds, y'all. And when I got pregnant and I started the show, I was huge. I was all belly. I didn't gain any weight anywhere else but in my belly. My belly was massive, you guys, massive. And it wasn't something I could hide. And, you know, people don't directly say things to your face. People don't directly be nasty to you, but they will behind your back. And you know that gets back to you. That gets back to a person. You can't gossip about somebody and don't think nobody's going to tell them what you said or how you said it or what you meant or whatever the case may be. So a lot of the things in my family, in the church, with my friends, just random people, you know, that negativity was on me all the time. And the looks of disappointment and, you know, the whispers and all that stuff got back to me. And it really started to take a toll on me. And I was just like, God, I have ruined my life. And I'm really going to be this person that these people tell me I'm going to be, which they were telling me I was going to be a young mother on welfare, living in the projects, you know, having food stamps. I got a deadbeat baby daddy. His family isn't really anything. They not made nothing of themselves. And now you're going to follow that path and you're going to be just like them. Like you're going to be this person. And, you know, they was basically putting a stereotype on me. They was basically putting me in a box and saying, because of this mistake you made over here, Keoshia, this is who you are and you shall not be anything else. Like, don't look over here out the box. Don't try to climb up over out the box. Don't try to dig under the box. You are in a box and this is who you shall be from this day forth. Boom, we have spoken. Like, it was literally like that. And, you know, I felt like I was destined to fail. I felt like I was not going to achieve any of the things that I set out to achieve in my life. And that hurt. And that cut really, really deep. And while I'm not somebody where you can tell that I'm depressed or you can tell that I'm having anxiety or I'm having second thoughts, I did. I mean, I did things I was supposed to do. You know, I went to all my, you know, prenatals. I, you know, spoke to people. I worked to work every day. And, you know, but I went to work every day with these feelings. I went to all of these places with these negative feelings and this weight of my failure on my shoulders, along with everybody's opinions, along with everybody's negativity, along with everybody's thoughts. And one day I was sitting there, you know, just wallowing in my pity while nobody was home at that time. My mom had a 3-bedroom house. My mom stayed in the room, my sister stayed in the room, and I stayed in the room. And I remember I was at home one day and everybody was going to work and it was like my day off. I think I was working at Walmart. And as a greeter or something, I don't know what I was, but I was working at Walmart for sure. And I remember coming home, I was at home alone and I got so mad and I was so upset. I remember I was crying and I was mad and I was angry and I was throwing stuff and I was doing all these things. And all of a sudden I stopped. Of course, you know, you all doing all this thing and you stop because you're tired and you're breathing hard and you're just like, and I'm just so tired. I'm just so over this. And I'm tired of people telling me and I'm just nobody, da, da, da. You know how we do. And so I'm just on my bed or on the floor somewhere in my room looking crazy, y'all. Looking crazy. Okay. Tow the room up. I got to clean it up, which didn't make no damn sense, but I got to clean it up after I tow it up. And I'm just there wherever I am laying, huffing and puffing and just wallowing in my pity. And I remember all of a sudden I sit up and I get this epiphany, or I get this thought in my mind, you know, And I was like, Keoshia, why are you in here tearing up your room, destroying your things, and crying and doing all this carrying on instead of doing the one thing you should be doing, which is determining how you want your life to go. Now that you have made this, now that this moment in life, this decision you have made has altered the course of your life at the moment. Why are you sitting here letting people's opinions define you? Of course, I didn't say it that eloquently because I'm only 19. And of course, my vocabulary and my emotional state wasn't the best, but something to that effect. Okay. Why are you sitting here crying and doing all this based off what somebody's telling you that you're going to be? Telling you what you're not going to be, telling you how far you're going to make it, telling you how good you're going to be, how your life is going to be this in this little box, and that's all you can have. And in that moment, I'm sitting there thinking, and I was like, well, damn, Keoshia, because I talk to myself. Let me know if you talk to yourself too. I'm that person. I talk to myself out loud sometimes. You know, sometimes it must be done. You know, it is what it is. Take it how you must. And I'm just like, are you really going to let this moment in your life dictate the rest of your life? Are you really going to let this one lapse of judgment or 15 lapses of judgment? Because of course it took a minute to get pregnant, so clearly it was more than one lack of judgment, but you get the point. This lack of judgment and this result of that define the rest of your life? Are you going to say just because you're having a child at 19 that now your life has to go down a path that you did not choose, but others have chosen for you? Like, is that really that's really what you in this room crying about? Like, can you not change your life to go the way you want it to go? Or no? Or no, or no? And I'm like literally here having a full-on conversation with myself. And at that point, I was just like, no, that's not what I'm finna do. What I'm finna do is I'm finna fight back. I'm finna push through. And I'm finna prove them wrong. One thing you will learn about me, ain't nobody, since that day, nobody has ever been able to tell me what I can't do. From that day forth, when people tell me what I cannot do, my one thought, my one job, my one mission is to prove them wrong. Now, is that good? I don't know, but it has worked so far. Like when somebody tries to put me somewhere that I don't want to be, I have to show them something different. I have to let them know, you cannot do that to me. That is not what I'm going to tolerate. That is not what you're going to put on me. Your opinions do not define who I am. You know who defines who I am? Me, myself, and I. I am the master of my life. I am the person who I need to listen to. You can talk all you want to. You can say all the things you want to, but that doesn't mean that's what I'm going to choose to do. That's not the path I'm going to take. It's my decision to make all day, every day. Now, was it going to be easy to prove these people wrong? No, of course not. Because nothing in life is easy that teaches you a lesson or requires you to grow after the fact, right? It's never easy. You got to go through the ups and downs, the bumps and the crevices and the hills and the mountains and all of the foolishness that comes in your way. But just because it wasn't easy didn't mean I could give up on myself or my dreams, right? And for me, you know, giving up my dreams and giving up on myself was not something that I was willing to do. So I had to prove them wrong. I had to let them know that you're not going to define me. You're not going to tell me who I am. You're not going to put me in no box. Because I'm about to tear this box up. It ain't even going to be a box when I get through. You ain't going to be able to put me back in it again because it's going to be destroyed in pieces. Like Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. I'm a little corny. Don't worry about that. But seriously, like, you're not going to define who I am. You're not going to put me in a box, and that's just the end of that. So I made a decision that day on that bed in my room after I acted a fool and tore that darn room up that I had to clean up later. Don't ask me how long it took me to clean up the room or what I broke and tore up in that lapse of judgment moment. But at the end of the day, the epiphany was real. And the epiphany was that I was going to prove everybody wrong. Y'all was not going to tell me who I was going to be because of this one moment in my life. This one, I hate to call it a mistake, but it's one mistake that I made, or this one decision I made that altered the path that I ultimately had for myself. An altered path is still a path. And the end of that path should still be the same destination. It's just going to take you a little longer to get there, right? You know, you might have to change little things, but you know, you can work it out. So, you know, that was a lesson. That was a growing moment in my life. And so what I learned is that my path might change, but that doesn't mean that my destination has to change. So my ultimate destination when I started college was what? To get a bachelor's degree. My path may have changed, but my ultimate goal, my ultimate destination is to get a bachelor's degree. Now, my ultimate goal in life was to have a master's degree. But at that point, of course, you have to get a bachelor's degree before you get a master's degree. You know, there's hierarchies to this thing. So, you know, I didn't get the accounting degree, but I still got a degree. I didn't get it in the time frame I wanted to get it. I didn't get it in the path that I thought I should get it, but I still got a degree. I still made something of myself, even if it wasn't what I originally planned. And to me, that's better than proving them wrong. That helped me understand what I was capable of, how strong I was as a person to persevere through anything that happens to me in life. And that's where the growth comes in, the knowledge that I regained for that. So one of my favorite quotes is, the strongest people aren't always the people who win, but the people who don't give up when they lose. Me getting pregnant and have to drop out of college, I lost in that moment. I lost that round, that inning, that war or the battle, but I didn't lose the war, but I didn't give up. Strength isn't always about winning. Okay? Being strong isn't always about winning. Strength isn't always about winning. It's about not giving up when things get tough. That was a tough time in my life. A lot of people was disappointed in me, and it made me doubt who I was because I wasn't strong enough, or I wasn't mature enough to learn how to still stand firm in the things I wanted to do, even though I had made a mistake in that moment. And that's what my growth came in. That learning a lesson that I could do anything that I wanted to, as long as I didn't give up. So if you're in a place right now, just think about it, where life is giving you a curveball, or you're wondering how you're going to get through it, and you know, things are so tough, I want you to remember that it's okay to pivot. It's okay to change the path to your destination, to go another way, to take another route, or to take a little longer. It's okay to change your plan. What matters is that you keep moving forward, keep taking those steps to get to the ultimate goal, to the ultimate place that you wanted to be when you started that path, when you started that plan, when you started that journey. Just don't give up. So here's what I want you to do. Like I said, I would like to give you tips and stuff. So here's what I want you to do. Take a look at what is going on in your life right now, where you ask yourself, what's one small step that I can take to move forward? So you're in a place in your life where you're having a hard time. Something's not going as planned. Something is a setback. Something's a bump in the road. And you're trying to determine, you know, what to do about it. Sit down, write down that one problem and write one item of how you can move forward. What is one thing you can do today or tomorrow or this week or this month to move you forward towards that goal, even though you had a bump in the road or a setback? It doesn't have to be big. It can be small. It could be just writing the goal down and saying, I'm going to work every day to do one thing towards this goal, or I'm gonna work every week or once a month, whatever it is that you're going through, Just write something down. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a big, solve the whole problem, but just something to keep you in motion, keep you moving forward, keep you motivated to not give up in tough times. For me, back then, my small step was to go to community college. So in that moment, in that room, I made myself a plan. I said, okay, Keoshia, you're pregnant. You're about to be due soon. You still want to pursue your college degree. But obviously you can't go straight to that degree. So what can you do in the meantime? What can you do to move yourself forward? I signed up for community college. Community college, you have night classes. It's a little bit cheaper. You don't have to stay on campus. It's a lot of things. So instead of completely giving up on my dream, completely, demolishing my path, I just pivoted a little bit. I pivoted and I went to community college. Now, was it my original plan? No, but it was a step in the right direction. It was to help me keep my mind on the prize, keep my mind set on making sure that I stayed in my classes. I stayed motivated to go to class and do work and not get into a lazy mode of not doing college work anymore. And it kept me moving toward my goal, even if it wasn't the plan that I had in mind. That's what growth is all about, you guys, is keep moving towards your goal, whether it's the plan you had in mind. And taking the next step, no matter how small it is. And a lot of people, look down because they was like, oh, now she's going to community college because she's pregnant. What's she going to do with an associate degree? Don't worry about what the naysayers are saying. Because I'm going to tell you a little secret. At the end of the day, your girl got a master's degree. So that didn't stop me from doing anything. Like I said, once I made my mind up that one day, nobody could tell me nothing different. I was going to get what I ultimately wanted. And I did. That's a little sneak peek. So like I said, if you're going through a tough time, just write down one little thing that can help you move forward in the goal, since you have to deviate from your path. Because this won't be the first or the last time you're going to have to deviate or pivot from your path. And it hasn't been for me. I've had to deviate so many times, pivot so many times, stop so many times, start again so many times. But you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it, child. If I can do it, you can do it. People say that all the time, but I truly mean it. Like, seriously. So, yeah. That was my story of getting pregnant at 19 and dropping out of college. Are y'all entertained? I'm entertained. Like, y'all, I haven't thought about that story in years, but it's still relevant to this day. It's crazy how relevant it is. And that was back in 1997. Ooh, sorry, I had to get a sip of my wine. It's good too, y'all. Make sure if you listen to this, y'all cozy somewhere. Got you a coffee, a wine, a tea, a water, whatever you like to drink, Make sure you stay hydrated. A little off subject, but had to throw that in there. But anyway, let's move on. So today we talked about, like I said, me having to face the challenge of being a young mother and dropping out of college, and having to pivot my dreams. But through it all, I learned that it's okay to change your path. As long as you keep moving forward. That's a key word. As long as you keep moving forward, it doesn't matter, So if this episode resonated with you, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. I love to hear your thoughts. If you have any thoughts and you want to follow me on social media, they will be linked in the description below. Make sure you use the hashtag KANDIDLYKEOSHIA so that we can continue the conversation, or you can just give me your thoughts. And make sure you let me know what your favorite wine is too, going back to the icebreaker. And it means the world for me to have your support. So if you love it, share it with a friend or a family member or somebody you think that would enjoy these motivational, educational podcasts. And, learn a little bit from your girl, Keoshia. So next time on Kandidly Keoshia, we're going to continue my journey of getting pregnant at 19 in the next episode. And this episode is going to talk about how I faced the life challenges of being a young mother and going to community college and working full time. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss this episode. So I want to say thank you guys for tuning in to the first episode of Kandidly Keoshia. It means so much to me, and I'm so excited to share this journey with you. Remember, life is hard, but as long as you keep on moving forward and continue on your path, you can make it. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next episode.